For over half a century, one name has haunted the annals of true crime. A phantom who terrorized Northern California and then vanished, leaving behind a legacy of fear and a puzzle that endures to this day. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer, and it's coming up right. Welcome back, brave souls. Our story begins in the late 1960s, a time of supposed peace and love. But for the communities around the San Francisco Bay Area, a shadow was falling. On the cold night of December 20th, 1968, on a secluded lover's lane in Brescia, two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, were brutally shot and killed in their car. It was a shocking, senseless act, but it was only the beginning. 7 months later, on July 4th, 1969, another young couple, Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau, were attacked in a similar fashion in a Vallejo parking lot. Darlene was killed, but Mike miraculously survived. Just an hour after the shooting, a chilling phone call was made to the Vallejo Police Department. A man's calm, monotone voice claimed responsibility not only for this attack, but for the murders of Jensen and Faraday as well. The killer had found his voice, and then the letters started arriving. On August 1st, 1969, 3 Bay Area newspapers received nearly identical handwritten notes. They began with the haunting line, "Dear Editor, I am the killer, ... The author provided details about the crimes that only the police and the killer could know. He also included a strange symbol, a circle with a cross through it, his sinister calling card. And he gave himself a name, the Zodiac. But that wasn't all. Each letter contained a segment of a complex cipher. The Zodiac demanded the papers publish his code on their front pages, threatening a kill rampage if they refused. The papers complied. And soon, a high school teacher and his wife managed to crack the first cipher. The message was bone-chilling. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. The Zodiac's reign of terror continued. On September 27th, 1969, he struck again. This time at the serene shores of Lake Berryessa, he approached a young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, wearing a bizarre black executioner style hood adorned with his symbol. He tied them up before brutally stabbing them, leaving them for dead. He even carved his symbol into Brian's car door. Brian survived, playing dead, but Cecilia tragically died from her wounds 2 days later. Before she passed, she provided a description of the attackers. Just 2 weeks after the Lake Berryessa attack, the Zodiac changed his pattern. On October 11th, he hailed a cab in San Francisco, driven by Paul Stein. At a quiet intersection, he shot Stein in the head, then calmly walked away, taking a piece of Stein's blood-soaked shirt with him. In a shocking twist, police officers actually stopped and spoke to a man matching the suspect's description moments later, but believed they were looking for a black suspect based on an initial dispatch error, and let him go. Days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac. Inside was a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt, undeniable proof of his claim. He mocked the police for their near miss and escalated his threats, claiming he would target a school bus full of children next. This threat, which thankfully never materialized, sent waves of panic through the community and later inspired the famous Scorpio Killer in the Clint Eastwood film Dirty Harry. Before we get too far ahead, 2 books helped inspire me and supplied the resources to make this video. Zodiac Killer, Just the Facts, and the Zodiac Killer Cover-Up. The Silenced Badge, they are linked in the description. I also may make a small commission from their purchase, so there's that. For years, the Zodiac continued his twisted game of cat and mouse, sending more letters and ciphers to the press. One of his most infamous was the Z34 cipher, which remained unsolved for 51 years. It wasn't until 2020 that a team of international codebreakers finally cracked it. The message read, in part, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me." The misspelling of paradise became another one of his strange signatures, despite a massive investigation spanning decades. The identity of the Zodiac Killer remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. While officially linked to 5 murders and to attempted murders, he claimed to have killed as many as 37 people. Countless suspects have been investigated over the years. The most prominent was a man named Arthur Lee Allen, a former schoolteacher with a troubled past. Allen was circumstantially linked to the crimes in numerous ways. He lived in Vallejo, owned a Zodiac brand watch, and was identified by the surviving victim Mike Mago years later. A friend claimed Allen had confessed to him. Police found bloody knives in his car after the Lake Bereza attack. Though Allen claimed he'd been killing chickens, the Zodiac letters stopped in 1974. The same year, Allen was incarcerated for child molestation. However, crucial evidence, like his DNA, fingerprints, and handwriting, never matched the samples from the Zodiac. Allen maintained his innocence until his death in 1992, and the case against him remained purely circumstantial. Over the years, other theories have emerged, just like the subscribe button. In 2014, a man named Gary Stewart published a book claiming his estranged biological father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac, citing a strong resemblance to the police sketch and alleged handwriting matches to the Zodiac. More recently, in 2021, a group of volunteer investigators called the Case Breakers named another man, Gary Francis Post, as their prime suspect, pointing to a scarred forehead that they believe matched marks in the police sketch. However, law enforcement agencies like the FBI and local police have never officially confirmed any of these suspects. To this day, the Zodiac case remains open. The files are filled with theories, crackpot confessions, and tantalizing clues that lead everywhere and nowhere at once. The killer, who craved attention and reveled in the fear he created, ultimately achieved a twisted form of immortality. He was never caught. His identity remains a ghost, a question mark, a symbol etched into the dark side of history. The Zodiac's legacy is not just one of violence, but of enduring mystery. It's a story that shows us how a single, malevolent individual can hold a society captive, and how some puzzles, no matter how many people try to solve them, can remain forever locked. The man behind the hood and the cryptic letters could have been anyone, a neighbor, a co-worker, a stranger passing on the street. And perhaps that S, the most terrifying part of the Zodiac story. He was a monster who looked just like a man, and he simply faded back into the crowd, his secrets buried with him. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries like these, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world's most compelling cases. Finally, who do you think the Zodiac is, and why did his legacy endure? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious.